Today, Nigeria may have just made one of the most important digital sovereignty decisions in its history. A few weeks ago, I made a video about China's data sovereignty strategy, and I said something that so many people overlooked. The countries that control their data would have an advantage over the countries that do not. And I think we should be paying attention. The Central Bank of Nigeria have directed banks, fintechs, and payment service providers to store payments data locally. Now, most people will read that headline and think, oh, that's a banking story. I disagree. This isn't primarily a banking story. It is a national strategy story. Because every transfer you make, every POS payment, every salary payment, every fintech transaction creates data. And when you aggregate billions of those transactions, what you get is incredibly powerful. A real-time digital map of an economy, how people spend, how businesses grow, where opportunities emerge, where risks are building. So that's not just data, that's economic intelligence. China understood this years ago, like I talked in my previous video. While so many countries treated data as a byproduct of technology, China increasingly treated it as a strategic national resource. Not because data is valuable on its own, but because data powers AI, data powers innovation, data powers decision-making, data powers competitiveness. The nations that own the infrastructure, the compute, and the intelligence layer gain an advantage that becomes harder and harder to catch. That's why I welcome this move. Not because local storage automatically makes data safer. It doesn't. Cybersecurity still matters. Governance still matters. Nigeria is beginning to realize that the digital economy is not just something we participate in. It is something we should help own. And contrary to what so many people think, Nigeria is not starting from scratch. We already have world-class tier 3 data centers already operating locally in the country. We already have locally hosted cloud capabilities. We already have engineers. We already have cybersecurity professionals and platform architects building and managing sophisticated digital infrastructure right here in Nigeria. The foundation is already being laid. What we are seeing today is policy beginning to align with infrastructure. And that is when transformation becomes possible. The countries that will win the next digital race won't simply be the countries who are generating data. It would be the countries who are storing it, who are processing it, and who are securing it, and transforming it into intelligence. For decades, nations competed for oil. In the decades ahead, they will be competing for data, compute, and digital infrastructure. And for the first time in a long time, Nigeria isn't just watching from the sidelines. It's positioning itself to become part of that future. So obviously, Nigeria, with an increasing population of over 250 million people, has data. But then, are we willing, are we ready to build an economy around it? I warned about data sovereignty when I talked about China. But then today, Nigeria just made a bold move.